What's up, internet? My name's Ori. Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button. You like this video, hit that like button, hit that notification bell. You'll never miss a video. You'll never miss a stream. Today is Wednesday, August 31st. It's day 57 inside the Big Brother house. And yesterday was all about the Kyle apology tour. He had lots of one-on-ones with different people, kind of explaining how horrible of a day he had yesterday with panic attacks and why he was so defensive at first, but now has come to kind of accept it and realize the things he had said and done weren't right. And he's trying to learn and move forward. And again, he had kind of one-on-ones with everyone. He even had one with Brittany where they kind of discussed the whole topic. It sounds to me like there was a lot that we missed in those meetings I kind of talked about before. One was during the movie, when they got to go to the movie and it left, what was it, Kyle, Terrance, Monty, and Brittany alone in the house. And it sounds like some really heated stuff happened there. So he was kind of apologizing for a lot of that. And one thing that was kind of an interesting takeaway during the Brittany conversation was how she brought up that, like, you know, this might be, at least in a way, like, kind of good that it came out now, because a lot of times when people have these kind of issues, they're blindsided on the outside. So at least now you kind of have the heads up and you can get in front of it a little bit. When Kyle had his talk with Taylor, that one was kind of interesting as well, because I feel like a lot of the points that everyone has with defending Kyle were actually brought up, and he admitted, like, yeah, there was no evidence that there was a Cookout 2.0. But Taylor went and she kind of gave him a little bit of credit. She's like, listen, I can understand why you thought that was, but it doesn't excuse it at the same time. You know, just based on everything that happened last year, and it just wasn't true. And it was kind of nice because it was a little bit lighthearted, where she was like, "You dummy, I was leftovers till the end." Like, that's why this hurts, is because we were like building a bond there, and then it was kind of thrown away because of this. And they kind of talked about how, like, you know, it's going to be a process for him to learn, and there's plenty of resources out there. That was kind of something that kept coming up in a lot of his conversations, was that, you know, he has to go and do the learning a lot himself. And she said, like, listen, I'm not your private tutor, but I am your friend. You know, I will support you outside of the house. I will defend you. I'm not going to, you know, just let you be. And also, you know, what was kind of an interesting little point, because even in the moment, it wasn't something like I really picked up on, but as she said, it was like, yeah, you know what? I could see where that would really kind of hurt her, was when Kyle didn't want to use the veto on Alyssa. His whole pitch was like, everybody keeps saying, like, you know, she's this big mastermind and she's got this like social threat. And he's like, what if we're just evicting a really nice girl? And Taylor's like, I never got that, right? Like, first week, you know, oh, she's a threat, she's this, she's that. Nobody ever stopped and said, what if we're just evicting a really nice girl? And that didn't happen till weeks later when the leftovers were finally formed. So she said for her, like, that was, you know, she hates to use the word, she said, but triggering. And I looking back on it now, it's like, yeah, I could totally see where that would be kind of a really hard thing for her to have to sit and listen to, when she's just trying to make a game move here, to put somebody up that she thinks would never get put up. And she has a reason to, because she stole her prize. And if anyone was going to take a shot, it was here and now, and it would leave Kyle actually free, because he could pretend he didn't know that she was going up. So it was kind of like a favor for him to be able to get rid of that tie for him. And then it just all kind of went downhill. And she did tell him, like, listen, just be honest in jury, because if you're not, the next person's going to come in and they're going to tell you. They're going to tell everything. His conversation with Monty was also very emotional, but there were some lighthearted moments too, where Kyle's like, come on, just like punch me in the face, it'll make me feel better. And Monty's like, I'm not gonna do that, you'll be asleep. And they kind of, you know, got a little laugh out of that, but it was constructive, but it was emotional. He talked about how, like, especially with him, it feels like it's another level because he played so selfishly. And Monty actually shared a really nice story too with nice, but it was a story about his brother in the Coast Guard, his younger brother, and how he experienced racism there. And it felt so bad for Monty because he's like, I just want to be that older brother, but there's nothing I can really do to stop that kind of a thing. And Monty shared like lots of stories about like his high school and how when he went from very diverse schooling to his high school where he was, you know, one of the only black kids, it just wasn't really the same. And a lot of his relationships from high school really didn't grow and continue because of, you know, just little things that people would end up saying that would end up having to do with his race, that it would break that trust. And it was just a really, I don't know. It was just a very interesting conversation to witness between two people who had, you know, obviously had a broken relationship because of something that one of them did, to kind of just work it out and talk it out and come together and see that, you know, there is a path in the future to rebuild a friendship there. Turner and Kyle had a little apology session as well, where he's just was more for him sorry that this all kind of happened on his HOH and that his game kind of got blown up, that he dragged him in with it. And Turner was like, you know, is there anything, you know, that could help me going forward? He's like, dude, I'm checked out. Like, I'm in the jury house already. Like, I'm not even thinking about game anymore. There was also a Michael and Brittany apology kind of together with Taylor actually kind of there as well. But not too much really came from that other than just the same old stuff that we've been saying in all the other ones. Now, when he eventually left and a little bit later, Michael and Brittany were kind of asking Taylor, like, well, you know, you think Monty's going to be in with the final four that we have? And she's like, well, with me and Brittany, yeah, but Michael might go before that. So, like, she pretty much laid it out there that, yeah, he would definitely try and take a shot, which isn't great for Monty. So we'll see how that kind of plays out as well. Speaking of Monty, he had a conversation with Turner, kind of just about the whole Kyle stuff and just, you know, stuff in general with everything that's been going on. And he also mentioned how he's been trying to pull Taylor away from Michael and Brittany, and he's encouraging Turner. He's like, listen, you got to try and keep Michael and Brittany close, especially if they win HOH. Like, no matter what they tell you, you could be in trouble. And then, speaking of the whole idea with trying to pull Taylor away, Monty and Taylor actually kind of chatted about Kyle's apologies and whether or not they thought it was, you know, authentic and genuine, which they do, you know, believe in them. And Monty tried to push the idea. He's like, I don't really like that Michael and Brittany kind of held on to this information until it was useful for them. And Taylor's like, well, you know, I'm glad they didn't rush it before they weren't 100% sure on what everything was going on. So Taylor was like kind of pushing back on that a little bit. I think it's fairly obvious that that Monty's trying to pull Taylor over, but she's really ingrained in there with them. So we'll see how that all kind of goes. They played pool, and it was a little flirty. There was a lot of little comments. Like, there was one about they were like, oh, like, what are you gonna make for dinner? And Taylor's like, you know, I don't know, maybe some snacks. And Monty thought she said sex. So she's like, snacks? He's like, oh, I thought you said sex. So that was like a little thing. And then he was like, man, every time I look at your pants, I get really jealous. She's like, why? Because of the Lulus or my booty? So he was like, I mean, both. So it was a little flirty there. But I think that was more just, you know, again, trying to build that bond with Taylor to try and pull her away from Michael and Brittany and more over to his side in the whole situation. We'll see how that all kind of plays out. Uh, there was also earlier in the day a really nice conversation between Monty and Terrance where the two of them just kind of went over a lot of different things, game stuff, but more so like history of Big Brother and how things have kind of gone for people of color, the way the world works. And one line that really kind of stuck out with me was Monty just said, he's like, I want to be free. It's like I hate like having to think about like everything I do and how it's going to be perceived, and he's like, that's why I came to this house. And I was like, I'm gonna wear my do-rag because that's how I do my hair, and like, so be it, right? Like my actions will, persevere and show who I really am, what's going on. He's like, I just want to be able to go to a restaurant and not think of any other stuff that I have to think about, and that kind of stuck with me too, because it's one of those things where I think a lot of people can't relate to what it feels like because it's not something that you have to carry every day. But for people of color, a lot of them, there is no getting away from it. You can't hide it. There's no just like, oh, let me just, put a mask on and nobody can see what I look like anymore. Like, that's not how the world works. And for a lot of people, it's just something that, think of your, if you are not a person of color, this is kind of how I was connecting with it a little bit. Think of like some of your worst traumas that you've had. And imagine if that was like out in the open where everyone could see them at all times. And then subconsciously, they might even like say things that would then dig at that trauma. And it was obvious that like that's what it was, even if they're not doing it maliciously, it still hits it. And that's kind of what it's like, I feel like, where you have these things that have happened, these stories you've heard, whether it's, your own experiences, your family members' experiences, your friends' experiences, and it's always just kind of there lingering, and you never know when it's going to pop up and show itself, and who you can trust and who is going to hurt you eventually or treat you differently. So it was definitely a really nice convo to kind of hear them kind of just talk about it and air it out. And I wish the feeds didn't cut off of it as much as it did, because there was lots of different cuts in it, but it was really just, it was kind of one of those, like, I don't know, today was a weirdly emotional but kind of like beautiful day of people just kind of speaking their truths, and it was kind of really nice to watch. Speaking of that, speaking of beautiful truths and the like, Kyle and Alyssa basically broke up today. She was saying that she was having such a hard time with everything that was going on. She looks at him and she still wants to hug and kiss him all the time, but with all the lies and everything that happened, it's a lot. And she doesn't want to, leave this game with a relationship. But they both, were like, maybe outside we can, see what happens. Well, they ended up just cuddling by the end of the night. I don't know. They're like broken up, but like, are they broken up? We'll see. We'll see. For now, at least, they are. Maybe when if, not when, but, if she gets to the jury house, maybe things rekindle there as well. Who knows? We'll have to see on that. But yeah, other than that, the rest of the night was really just kind of them chilling in the backyard. Turner did get a chance to kind of chat with Michael and Brittany in the backyard as well, when Taylor and Alyssa headed on inside to the kitchen for a moment. And he was just like, hey, listen, I totally understand if you guys aren't going to hold up your end of the deal. I hope you do. Don't, come after me if you win the HOH. But like, do you think Taylor would? And they all kind of, gave him the talk. It's like, yeah. Because like, we don't think you should be punished for doing the right thing. And this was where it was like, man, like, he goes, and he says, I kind of did the house a service this week, sending home my final two. Like, it's bad for my game. It's like, yeah. You know what was bad for your game was winning HOH. You never should have won HOH. Like, period. You shouldn't have done it, Turner. It was the worst game move that you could have done was win HOH this week. And I said it before the week. I said it before HOH. I said, hey, there's lots of different people, that it would be really good for them to win HOH. And I literally said, Turner's not one of them. He would not have been targeted by anyone in the house. But then as soon as he won HOH and made the choices he did, now he is in a lot of trouble, especially if Michael, Brittany, or Taylor win HOH. Speaking of, we can kind of take a look at our alliance chart. I've put a new one together for the week, and it's a lot simpler than it has been in the past. Let's take a look at this, and you can see there's not much going on anymore. So we have the trio of Michael, Brittany, and Taylor up on kind of the one side. Monty is there with them, but there's some space there, right? He wants to pull Taylor over and away from Michael and Brittany as much as he possibly can, but you know, she's still very much in there tight with them. He's also a little close over to the other side, right? Because I think if he got the chance, like, he might just put up Michael and Brittany right on the block. I don't know. We'll see how that would go. He might just say, you know, let's put Terrance and Alyssa up and then hope that, you know, someone else won the veto and they could backdoor Michael. But with only 7 people that are going to remain in the house next week, that's going to become a little bit more difficult to actually take that shot, because there's only one person that wouldn't sit out of the veto and wouldn't play, and there's a good chance Michael will play. So we'll see how that all kind of plays out, and those are all just hypotheticals. We do have the other side of the house is Turner, Alyssa, and Terrance, and I mean, like, it's not really like a formed official thing. You could say there's like no names. There's like, this is what got to the point where there's like no named alliances left in the house. The only named alliance is the Chen bots of Michael and Brittany. That is it. Like, other than that, like, no one has an official name for their alliance. There are you know, 2-ish new final twos. I've got Monty and Turner in there as a final 2, and like I don't know if they've actually like officially like made it a final 2, but like they're very much playing together and sharing information like they are trying to be a final 2. Turner and Terrance have definitely said, like, yeah, like, to the end. How truthful that is on Turner's side or Terrance's side, I'm not 100% sure either, but it is something that's kind of been made official. And then we still have Taylor and Brittany and Michael and Brittany as well. And other than that, that's how the house kind of stands right now. It's very much still split. If you were to believe what Michael, Brittany, and Taylor tell Turner, he would be pretty safe next week, and it would be Alyssa and Terrance going up on the block. But I have a very strong feeling that Turner or Monty would end up being Michael or Brittany's targets if they won. Meanwhile, I feel like everyone, including Monty, that's on the other side of the house, like Turner, Alyssa, Terrance, they're all gunning for Michael. And Taylor sometimes, I feel like, is on that trail, but then she gets pulled back into not being on there, and she did things like kind of say and imply that Monty would come after Michael. So I'm not 100% sure if she would take that shot if she were to win HOH. So it's going to be interesting to see how this all plays out after the eviction. And it's weird because we're looking way ahead of the eviction, even though Terrance and Kyle or Terrance and Turner are still kind of pushing for Kyle to stay. It's inevitable. Kyle's going to be evicted tomorrow. So why even entertain it anymore? But yeah, that pretty much covers everything that happened on the feeds. We do have an episode tonight, which should be a huge one. I have no clue how they're going to edit this and how they're going to play it out and what it's going to be like. The 3 kind of things that I'm looking forward to seeing, and hopefully they include, is the conversation that happened during the movie night, specifically the ones that were involving, you know, everything that was going on. Apparently it was very heated inside there. The full-on house meeting, and I imagine almost that they would include one, but not the one with the movie. I think that if there's going to be one that's cut, it's going to be the stuff that happened with the 4 that were inside during the movie. So we'll see how that all kind of plays out. And then the house meeting's definitely going to be in there, where a lot was kind of blown up. And then the veto ceremony is apparently very eventful as well. It's possible they even do like a weird little, cut where it's like, to be continued, and we don't even see the veto ceremony. They might save that for Thursday's episode. So I'm not sure how this is all going to get edited up and cut up and how it's going to go. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. But let me know what you guys think in the comments down below of everything that's been going on so far. What do you think about for next week? What are the chances that, Michael is the one to go? What do you think's going to happen if Michael, Brittany, and Taylor win HOH? Are they going to just go after Turner, or does Michael take a shot at Monty now that he has this kind of idea that he would come after him before their kind of Final Four agreement? Let me know in those comments down below. Thank you guys for watching so much. I really appreciate it. If you are new here, hit that subscribe button. If you made it all the way to the end of this video, smash that like button, hit that notification bell so you never miss a video, you never miss a stream. We will be again live as always for tomorrow's live eviction episode. I'm still tossing around the idea I might go live tonight on Twitch to do a watch along for tonight's episode, because I feel like it's going to be an eventful one, so we might hang out on there and chat. So yeah, make sure you're following me over on Twitch. You can follow me on Twitter as well. And you can join our Discord, where there's been a lot of really good discussions going on with everything that's been happening. It's been a really nice discourse over there to kind of just get out feelings and thoughts of everything that's been going on. And plus, it lets me get to know a lot of you a little bit more. So once again, thank you guys for watching, and I will see you next time.